Hey guys, happy Easter Sunday to all of you. April 3rd. Sunday is our celebration for the resurrections of our Jesus Christ. In fact, this vlog I am trying to bring the essence of this topic, which is about the story of the human rights. I received this book when I signed up to the human rights website, and the website asked me if I would like to receive any newsletter or any simple books about this human rights thing. So why not? I signed up to that, and then later on, it's just very quick. I received this a little booklet, which I really love because it gives the highlights of the United for the Human Rights. It's the story of the human rights, including the human rights of the U.S., the human rights of the Universal Declarations as for the individual doers to receive their human rights to obtain on their daily life. Um, this also talks about the background of the human rights, like the human rights of the how it started and how this exists and this um, how these human rights become the most leading essential to obtain as a human being. I know that you probably has an idea already about what's your right to have, especially in your daily lives. Um, don't be confused with the human rights and the civil rights because there are different. Human rights is your right to have, um, like the right to for a fair trial, the right to have food, the right to life, and the right for punishment under the law. All right, it's not because um, the human rights is not about like someone is giving you the punishment because it is not under the law. No, you receive the punishment, especially specifically in general. A person received who became the suspect of a murder case, so you're receiving that punishment. It's not because it's not under the law, but because it is under the law. That's why you receive the punishment, because you did something wrong against to that person, which is you committed the crime. So however, you have the right for as a human rights protections or a human rights um, under the declaration of the law or under the international law of the human rights. You are required or you have obtained right away for the fair trial and to receive a good treatment as well. um, However, on the civil rights is like you have the rights after you committed all the immigration status, and like for example, as a Filipino, and you're going to let's say in the UK, and you got married there to a British national, and as a wife you have the right to stay there because you are the spouse of the British national, and you produce all the documentations to stay there for 5 years, for 10 years, or whatsoever. And then later in the future, if you want to apply as a British citizen, you are eligible to get that as long as you required and you provided all the documentations that needed in that required to become a national of the UK. So That is the civil rights. You have the civil rights to receive the pension as long as you work there, you pay taxes, and you provided all the negotiations, all the paperwork and documentation. You have the right to receive the 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 pensions and also other work stuff. Okay, that that is the civil rights that you have to obtain in that specific country as long as you provided every details and every documents that needed enabling for you to get that position that you wanted, like to get pensions, to become the citizens of the UK or the citizens of the Spain, the citizens of the US or wherever. Um, that is what you call the civil rights. And human rights, it's also you have the right to get food. You have the right to be treated fairly to the government, no discriminations. You have the rights to have your um, to the freedom of speech, freedom of religions, your beliefs. That is your human rights. All right. You have the rights to get married to someone you want, and that's your human rights. As long as everything is gathered under this law, that is your human rights that you have to obtain. So don't be confused with the human rights and um, the civil rights. Um, human rights. When this one really started, and according to this book, human rights started after the World War II. Well, before that, it is already implemented. However, it doesn't became a law. It didn't became a law to be implemented under the law, under in a legal way. All right. So yes, back in the 100 centuries or 1,000 years ago, there is already a human rights. However, it's not implemented. People were taught like, I have the rights to eat because I work, and I have the right to be treated well. But however, it doesn't get implemented using the law. It didn't get enforced. However, when it comes after the World War II, during the Hitler administrations and during the fall of the Hitler administrations, the original European countries that formed this European Union was the six original countries are Italy, Germany, Belgium, France, the Netherlands, and what else? The Luxembourg. Together, and these start to talk about implementing about this human rights protections in order to avoid any circumstances like what happened in Hitler's administrations. No more Holocaust, no more killings of massive people, no more discriminations of this of religions because you are Islam, you are Catholic, you are Christians, you are Judas. It do no more of those kind of discrimination. Instead, treat them fairly, and then respect them fairly. And that's why these six European countries started to form this, and then the US came in too and then helped them together. So this human rights international will become law and become obligated. And if a country um, circumvent um, this international law of the human rights protections, this country will receive the punishment under the law of the Universal Human Rights Declarations of the Human Rights of violating the human rights protections in international law. So if ever a country, like for example here in the Czech Republic, did something like the government tried to roll over the populations, their people, and turned it into a very massive, harsh way of implementing the government, which people are against to this. The neighboring countries, which is like, for example, let's say Germany, France, and also the US, they can take over this country in order so that the human rights of each population will become stable again and the people will receive their rights as a human rights of themselves. So that's why this country who joined this treaty of the international human rights signed there that if ever this country or their government circumvent the declaration of the human rights of international law, if this become a violations, then this country will be imperial under the neighboring countries, because the neighboring countries will have to work hard so that the country will become stabilized under the human rights international law. So it's very simple to think that I have the human rights um, to do this such thing and such thing. But some people are really confused to their civil rights and then their human rights protections. So human rights and civil rights is totally a big picture. It's a black and white picture. And then the national constitution, like in the US and in the other countries, also different. But when it comes to international human rights protection, it's a common law. Like what I'm saying, the example of earlier. So it's really not a complex picture. It is really simple, really very easy to understand. But in the next video, I'm gonna discuss only about civil rights because I still have friends that are baffled for that. And also, I am also going to discuss about asylum law. So for now, guys, this is all for now that I can give you, and hopefully, you guys at least can grasp a little bit of picture in this vlog. Again, have fun and enjoy your rights as a human. Bye! Legal Matters with Yen. Signed out.